Thank you, Mr. Trey. And I'd like to first take the time to, I certainly do not think it's done enough, is recognize and thank two gentlemen on behalf of all the high school coaches in the state of Louisiana, specifically the New Orleans area. And that's Ken Trahan and Ed Daniels. They do more for New Orleans prep football. It is known nationally, mainly because of the efforts of these two guys. So I would like you to join with me in a round of applause for Ken Trahan. I would like to recognize the Archbishop Shaw representatives at the table sitting right in front of me. JJ briefly mentioned a few of them, but I'm going to go ahead and mention all of them. We're awful proud to be here, awful proud to represent Shaw High School. Going around from left to right, we'll start with our wrestling coach, who was recently just named National Wrestling Coach of the Year. Also our development director, Coach Brandon Sorensen. Coach. The Brown family, Jason Brown, who was an all-district player for me at Shaw in 1993. 3-year starter. I think he was a part of 4 district championship teams. His wife, Paige, who actually worked for me in summer camp, I think that's where they met, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, y'all met JJ and their daughter, Gabrielle, and that's the Browns. Our principal, Mr. Nick Marchese, also a Shaw graduate, a member of the Shaw football team in the early 2000s. My wife, Joanne, she said not to mention him, but I'm going to mention him because Ro Brown said to make sure to mention him. So I'm going to mention him. Ro, I took care of that. Thank you. And by the way, Ro, all these years I thought you went to St. Aug. Thank you, Harris, for telling me he's a Kennedy. Come on. Thank you. All right. And who I'm missing? My athletic director, former coach. And as all any coaches in the room know, you cannot have any chance of being successful without a great athletic director. And we have that Tom Bailey, our former high school coach, who just does a great, great job of making my job easier and all the coaches at Shaw's jobs easier. Okay, I'm also honored to be up here this with Lanaris Elphage. This is a great story. About a month ago, I finally met him. Now, back when I was at Shaw in the late 90s, he was the best football player. Well, we thought Sharon Carey was the best player, but Lanaris was probably the best player. But I saw him play many, many times, and just a great player. Well, probably one of the best players that ever played in prep football in New Orleans. I was very happy when he went to Tulane. And he brought his junior varsity over to place in JV a couple of weeks ago. I actually got to meet him, and obviously, having listened to him speak, what he's done at Kennedy, just an outstanding young man, a tribute to the coaching and the education in our city. So, honor for me to be up here. The guy to his right, okay, a guy by the name of Marlon Fay Wright. All right, we got a little history together. I had the opportunity to coach him twice. Coached him at Shaw, and then coached him a couple of years later at West Jefferson. Now, how that happened, we won't get into, right? Exactly how that transpired, but before I actually talk a little bit about Marlon, I'd just like to say that he told me not to tell the story, but I got to tell it. He was a freshman. We went Tuesday, his first day of pass, and we went against, he was a freshman now, but he kind of looks like he looked now, he looked like a freshman. When he played for the freshman team, they used to ask us to show the birth certificate in games, because all the Catholic school parents thought he was too old. But so we practiced the first day, and he is handling the senior offensive lineman. All excited, this kid might be able to play as a freshman. So the next day we were about to go to the practice field, and his mother, a wonderful lady, knocks on the coach's door, and she said, "Coach," she said, "when you get this to my son, he was a little sore last night. It was a heat pad." His mother brought him a heat pad to practice. So needless to say, for the next 3 years, every time we had any type of injury of any kind, we would always represent heat pad that his mom brought. Often wanted to use it at LSU, but never did ask him. He, great player, one of the best players I ever coached. He was, when we went to West Jefferson, he had 0-10. 1 year later, we went 10-0, and Baldwin was the defensive player of the year in New Orleans, first team All-State, probably as good as football players I've ever coached. He was a 5-star before there were 5 stars. He could have went anywhere in the country, got school, and really was as important as anyone to turn the West Jefferson program around. Natural leader, great young man. keeps telling me he's coming to a Shaw game. I hadn't seen him. I just told him that. He told me 7 straight weeks he was coming to a game. He hadn't been there yet. But he said he's coming Friday night because we're having a DJ there now, so that's probably why he's coming. He'd like to get him to come. Last phase story. So he's being recruited by everybody in the country. So I got a coach in Southern Cal there recruiting him. So I leave to go up to the front and come back and I can't find him. So he's outside. That guy, let's just say he's outside. I look outside, he's got his shirt off. And the coach of USC's got his shirt off, and they pass rushing one another. In the middle of West Jefferson Field, they box swatting, and they get after it. Now, I'm not going to surprise you when I tell you that coach was ghetto strong. So, probably be surprised. He broke about 25 rules in 2 hours, but that's a story for another day. But, moving on, big fan, great to see you as always. Friday night, correct? Faye? Friday night, but now it's early, right? Okay, y'all got you, man, that's right, okay. I'm going to talk about my tight end / H back that got honored. You know, every year we get the form from Channel 26 about the GNO Scholar Athlete of the Year. You guys submit a form. Well, yeah, I've been doing this quite a long time, probably too long, anyway, but, so I'm looking at, so I've had over the years had a chance to coach a lot of really good football players, really smart football players. And so I knew JJ was very smart. So I called him mom and said, send me his resume. Well, it took me about an hour to read his resume, and he's a senior in high school. It's without a doubt the most impressive resume I've ever seen for a 17-year-old kid. And he mentioned he's 35 in ACT. You know, he swims, he wrestles, and he plays football. He has a zillion offers to go to college, and not athletic, just because of what he has up here. He has an apartment to West Point. He has all these different things, and well deserving of them. When we first started coaching him, Mike Bauermeyer was offensive lineman, and I said, Mike, we gotta be careful with this kid. If you tell him the wrong thing, he's gonna correct you. He's gonna know you full of it if you tell him something not true. We were reach blocking one day, we stepped at 90 degrees, and we stepped, and I heard Mike say, JJ, what about that step? He said, I think it was about 80 degrees. I was like, whoa. But very, very smart, very, very tough, hard-nosed kid. Plays in 2 tight end situations, probably 190 pounds. His daddy was the same way. His daddy played linebacker and center. He asked the kid to play linebacker and center. They'd have to probably talk to his agent to get the permission for that to happen. So he got that toughness from his dad, and enjoyed coaching him. And he's on the field a bunch. We run the ball. We really don't like to throw too much, as people tell me all the time. He needs to throw the ball, but we run it all the time, and he's a big part of the success in our running game. So it's a pleasure to coach him, and also a pleasure to coach someone that I know is going to be so successful in life. Kenny told me 7 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to go on a little bit more and talk about Shaw High School now. You know, I was there 20 years ago, 22 years ago. Didn't end very well 22 years ago, but again, that's a story for another day, Tuesday. But so I'm back now, and I'm truly, really happy to be back. In a great school, great kids. You know, only boys Catholic school in the West Bank, and it's a great place to send your son. And I'm not just saying that because I have been completely removed from Shaw for 22 years. Academics is fantastic. The spirituality of the school, we have a dynamite principal, Father Steve Ryan. We go to Mass. Sometimes it seems we go to Mass every week, but they tell me it's every 3 weeks. But we sure do go to Mass a lot. And the kids are very religious based, very spiritual based. And we're putting out a tremendous product there. And I'm extremely happy to be there. It's fun to coach them. You know, you say everybody after 7 a.m. we're going to practice next week. If we win, we're going to practice at 8 in the morning. If I say be there at 7:30, we'll have 74 kids there before 7:30. And it's a product of the accountability that they held to at the high school. You know, it's a really good place. And if I'm recruiting, I think what I'm doing is illegal. Although sometimes I've been accused of doing illegal recruiting, I think this is legal. Selling our school, it's a wonderful school, and I'm happy to be there and very happy about what's going on at the high school. We'll talk about our team a little bit. We were 1-2 after 3 games. Lost the Rumble. I thought I was going to get fired for losing the Rumble. We had beat Rumble. I don't think it's a little bit difficult as a minnow, but at some point we will have to get that fixed. But after we lost to Roman, we were 1-2 and put a lot of work, a lot of time into the season, and kids were down. But we talked to them about, every journey starts with a small step, and to get to the point, we won 7 straight games. They're excited about our team. We have a really run the ball well. We're probably lead one of the top running backs in the city, averaging 10 yards a carry. Very good offensive line, playing great defense. And in winning those 7 straight games, we won our first district championship, I think, in 13, 14 years. So there are really good things happening at Shaw in a lot of areas. Really good things happening in football. And to end up, what I have to say, I invite every one of you here Friday night to our first home playoff game in 14 years. We're hosting Livingston Collegiate at Joe Zimmerman Stadium. Now, of course, they beat Livingston Collegiate. We'll coach 48-0, right? So he's telling me it's going to be easy. I don't believe it's going to be easy for a second, but I'll tell you something about the program Coach Elfage has started over there. But we're going to have a typical West Bay party Friday night. We're going to start out with the tailgate. We got DJ Jubilee coming from 4:30 to 6:30. I hope we can get the lead the tailgate to come to the game. That's our goal. Hope that happens. But if you're going to think about West Bend parties, it may go on during the game. But if you're doing nothing and you want to come watch a great experience in a great stadium and a great school, come to Marrero Friday night and watch the Eagles take on Livingston Collegiate. I know, Kenny, I think I got close to my 7 minutes. But thank you very much. I've enjoyed being here. Thank you for inviting us, and in particular for recognizing J.J. Brown.